Hello, everybody. We are live.
Oh, I didn't know we were live.
Yes, we are live.
Okay.
And we're here at a podcast about episode 25, The Beetle at Bay for Order of the Phoenix. So that is that. Mary, do you have anything that you'd like to talk about in the podcast pre-show?
No, sorry, I didn't know we were going live, so I didn't send you a text reminder. So if you're like, this is a surprise, it's a surprise. Surprise.
We're here. We're ready to go. We're ready to talk about Harry Potter. All right. Well, then let's make a podcast.
All the way from Providence, Rhode Island in the Minute with Mary studio, welcome to the Potterverse. It's a podcast dedicated to the book and film universe of Harry Potter, so grab your favorite wands and your time turners. Let's step into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and I love that we get a brief glimpse into Bellatrix Lestrange in this chapter and the havoc that she has created and will create later on in this book. And it is a great mark of the author's ability that she allows Bellatrix to kind of loom over this chapter for what it is and what that will mean. I think it was a very smart move. So that is that, Marvin.
All right. So, of course, this is the chapter 25, The Beetle at Bay. This had so many different things going on in it, friends, by the way. And this is where I wanted to lay for right now. You want me to report on what he says about he who must not be named? Rita asked Hermione in a hushed voice. Yes, I do. The true story, all the facts, especially as Harry reports them. He'll give you all the details. He'll tell you the names of the undiscovered Death Eaters he saw there. He'll tell you what Voldemort looks like now. Oh, and get a grip of yourself, she added contemptuously, throwing a napkin across the table. For at the sound of Voldemort's name, Rita had jumped so badly that she had slopped half her glass of fire whiskey down herself. Getting all that FAQs, baby. We're getting it. We're getting it. And I love how still people are jumping. They're nervous with this guy's name. And this is a wonderful thing that kind of goes throughout the books and then it becomes, of course, a problem in book 7 if you say his name. So I really like this. I love that we get to hear the truth and that she's able to use Rita Skeeter for this, bringing back this really quirky, fun character. But she's all disheveled. So, yeah, I wanted to delve into that. Let's get some truth. Sometimes you have to get it in the quirky little newspapers and everything. All right, let's get into the show.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
Quick recap for you if you haven't read this chapter recently. This is when everyone learns about the mass breakout of 10 prisoners from Azkaban. Also, we find out that a ministry worker dies thanks to Devil's Snare. Umbridge tells all the teachers they can't say anything about anything that they don't teach. Harry and Cho go on their super awkward Valentine's date. Hermione, Luna Lovegood, and Rita Skeeter hang on out with Harry to learn the truth so that way info can be published in the Quibbler. Lots of stuff, as I said. Lots of things are happening.
And actually in a relatively short chapter, too. Like, it's not that long.
Correct.
Which is, I mean, like here in my book, of course, I'm reading the illustrated version, which it does have more writing in it, I suppose. But it's only like
It
maybe
flies.
like 10 pages at most.
It's a lot of fun world
A little bit
building. There's a
more.
lot of things that are happening. So you're right. It's not a super short chapter. It's also not a super long chapter, but it just moves. So there's a lot crammed into it. And this of course is when they're pretty much back from the Christmas holidays. As I said, it takes place over Valentine's Day as well. So you really feel that passage of time when you come back from vacation and you're just thrown into all of the different things.
So one question I have, Mary, about all of this, and I don't know why I keep harping or at least going back to the whole Azkaban thing, but it feels like a really big deal, or at least it should be a really big deal that all of these prisoners are now out of Azkaban, namely Bellatrix. And is this one of those items where we kind of just have to accept what is and move on, or like how on God's green earth did all of these people escape, have a way out? What were the Dementors doing? Like, this feels like it's like it would be akin to people escaping like a major supermax prison in like Colorado. Like, what's the name of that prison in Colorado?
I don't know.
Oh man, what the heck is the name of that prison? I gotta look it up now. I gotta look it up now. It's gonna drive me crazy if I don't get it. But whatever.
Okay.
Oh, ADX. It's like ADX is a really big deal. And like, these people just kind of get out there, and it's, it obviously is a big deal, but is this one of those things where we should just accept the fact that they got out and kind of just whistle past the graveyard?
Who's whistling past the graveyard?
We as readers, and like even like the author, so to speak, right? Because she doesn't really write the details. She doesn't, like, where are the Dementors in this whole process?
The Dementors have been recruited by the Death Eaters.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, it happens.
So they just kind of like just let them just walk out. See you later.
Yeah, and let Voldemort come in and help things out, and and Cho, of course, picks up on it in this chapter. She says, "Isn't it weird that when one escapee, Sirius Black, escaped Azkaban, there were Death Eaters everywhere, all throughout Hogsmeade, all throughout
Right.
even the Hogwarts grounds, and yet here we are with 10, and not a single Dementor is shown."
Interesting. Interesting. And the other thing too I like about this, obviously, and as I said at the top of this episode, is that the author does give us this little bit of insight into Bellatrix, and it's like, yes, we know what she has done to Neville's parents, and that should make us a little scared of her. But I think what this is opening up is the opportunity for what comes for what she does to Sirius, right? So that when not only do we kind of have to hate her for what she did to Neville's parents, but when she does what she does to Sirius, you're like, oh, and it's not just some rando, it's not some just person that kind of just showed up and was like, oh, okay, that's the person who kills Sirius Black. It's like, no. Bellatrix is a big deal, and you should know about her. And yes, she did to Neville's parents what she did, but just wait. Just wait to see what happens with she and Sirius. Like, it gives you that much more investment when that time comes. I love these little things that the author is so great at putting into the story and allowing those things to breathe, and allowing you, the reader, to have a familiarity with people or places or items without even really knowing it. It's such a special talent.
It sure is. She's really incredible with what she does. So, how do you want to delve into this chapter? Because I agree with you, the whistling past, it happens. Cho touches upon it, Harry touches upon it. Fun thing, before we really delve into the chapter, I found it very interesting that as Cho was saying, how odd we're not seeing Dementors. I mean, the only Dementors we have seen in this book were the two that chased Harry.
Right.
So I find it odd that Harry didn't bring that up.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right.
You know, like that was kind of traumatizing, a big deal.
Well, maybe it's one of those things that he just kind of doesn't want to go into.
Maybe he blacked it out of his mind for a little bit. But I thought this would be a time that I, being the oversharer, would say, you know about Dementors, though. You know what I did see some was all the way back this summer.
Right.
So before we get into the episode, we do want to thank our sponsor. D&D Adventure Club is one of the best ways for yourself or a loved one in your life to get involved in Dungeons & Dragons. So being a listener of the Potterverse means that you love magical worlds and fantasy and adventures. And if that's something that you want to bring into your home, this is a business that you're going to want to check out. It's a mom and pop shop, just like Blake and I do here at the Potterverse, but they help make beginner level, really creative, pretty much like hour-long versions of Dungeons & Dragons that is accessible for all ages. And you can go to dndadventureclub.com and check on out. They have a monthly subscription service where you can get new games and stories sent to you every single month, or you could do kind of like a one-off. And we do have a coupon code Mary20 at checkout. So if that is something that you want to check on out, we highly recommend that you do. We love it. Our little lad loves it as well. Streamlined rules, pre-built characters, and it really lets anyone and everyone pick up the game and try it on out.
Yeah, so you'll find the link to that and the code that you can use at checkout right in the show notes. Wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever, if you're even on the website, it is there as well. All right, so Marvin, now that we have that, and thank you D&D Adventure Club for being partners with us, I kind of want to go with Harry's super awkward date.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's
I
do
don't
it.
know why. I find if this was ever a reason to understand why Cho and Harry should never be together and should never have been together, this is the primary reason right here. They have this single bonding moment or tissue, if you will, of Cedric. And there's this undeniable connection between the two, but the problem is that Cedric and Cho had one relationship. Cedric and Harry had another relationship. And never the two shall meet, right? Like you cannot mesh those. Harry, one of my favorite lines in The Dark Knight is you finally understand people when they're about to die, or something along those lines. You never really know who your friends are or what they're like until they're about to die. So he's like, so the Joker says, in many ways, I knew your friend better than you did, and I kind of subscribe to that feeling, like where it's like people will show you who they really are. And there's a level of knowledge that Harry has of Cho of Cedric that Cho could just never grasp. And there's only so much Harry can say for her understanding. Do you subscribe to that thought process as well?
I feel like the version of Cedric Diggory that we get throughout the Labyrinth and at the Graveyard is the Cedric that we were shown all throughout the Goblet of Fire, the Cedric that we got to see with Cho throughout the Goblet of Fire. So maybe in some regards, but from what we as the readers were able to see, I actually see Cedric as a pretty consistent character.
Mm-hmm.
And so Cho is of that frame, though, right? Because she thinks that Harry might have extra little bits about Cedric, but Harry knows Cedric was an amazingly brilliant wizard. And he didn't get to have that many extra one-on-one moments. I mean, who knows? Maybe Cedric told Cho that he and Harry had their own little bonding and helped each other out in different ways. Maybe he didn't, but I feel like that still would be within Cedric's character. So I could see how Cho wants to fill in the missing pieces. You get to bond with people over people that you've lost together, and you can exchange those other stories. Granted, his character may not have been different in Harry's perspective or Cho's perspective, but she just wanted to fill the character out and How precious that she thinks that he would have talked about her in her last dying breaths. Don't forget to tell Cho she was the best 2-month-old girlfriend. Or girlfriend of 2 months or whatever.
So, is Harry in the wrong here with how he handles this whole conversation about Hermione and being like, oh, we got to go see Hermione and we got to do this? And, because Hermione does have this great conversation with him about that and being like, well, you should have done this and you should have said that. This is one of those areas where I kind of understand Harry. And he's just like, I don't, what are we doing? Like, I didn't mean anything by any of this. I want to do the right thing. I would love your perspective on Hermione's thoughts and if Harry was in fact in the wrong here.
I wouldn't necessarily say in the wrong. I would say that he is immature in the sense of understanding how other people might take that. He hasn't had experience in relationships before. He hasn't had experience, honestly, with girls aside from Hermione. It's not like he had a female cousin or a sister or an aunt who cared for him. So he didn't necessarily get to understand the interworkings of other people's minds that might think more along the lines of Cho or even Hermione understanding it. Granted, Hermione is much more upfront and vocal with those things, but she still may have feelings along those same lines from time to time, or she at least may be better to understand it. Makes me wonder, yeah, like I said, Harry's only female friend has really been Hermione, and he's starting to become, of course, closer with Ginny. So I think this is just his lack of experience in that regard. And also, he's always had multiple friends who've been cool with him breaking off from time to time. Sometimes I'm spending a lot of time with Hermione. Sometimes I'm spending a lot of time with Ron. And for the most part, there's not a lot of jealousy. So he's been very fluid with these friendships. And I can see him welcoming Cho into now his friendship circle, thinking, this is what we do. We just go, we hang out, and I appreciate Cho thinking that he is the rudest human being ever.
Well, that was my next question.
Left and right.
That was my next question, Mary. Is Cho justified in feeling the way that she feels? Because we know that she does not have the emotional range of a teaspoon.
She does not.
She has all the feelings.
All right. Would I have reacted like Cho? Probably not. I will say that. I think Cho had very different expectations for how this day was going to go. And this is when she and Harry find out that they're not necessarily on the same page. I mean, from the get-go, Harry is not interested in holding hands and snogging. Cho was. Cho's here to snog.
Sure.
Cho is here to hold hands. Cho is, whether it be Roger Davies or Harry Potter or whomever, this is what she wants to do on Valentine's Day.
Right.
And like I said, it's not even necessarily getting as far as Harry bringing up Hermione. Harry is not in that same romantic frame of mind.
Why do you think that?
Well, I don't know. But, like, first off, you don't want your first kiss to be, or your second kiss, to be in this tea shop with Cupids throwing confetti all over you. And I just kept picturing, because the way it's described, it sounds like people are facing each other at these little tables. So they're holding hands, and then it sounds like they're leaning over and like making out, leaning over in these tables. And that just does not sound very comfortable.
Sure.
So
does a lot on the lower back.
I bet. And for those of you who have either not yet entered the awkward high school making out age, or maybe that didn't happen in your life, I'm here to tell you, junior prom. I went to a friend's house for an after party, but we're all nerds and not like boozing and fire whiskey party, but it was a get together, and all of the other couples were snogging. And they were snogging. They were enjoying themselves. And I was there with a new boyfriend who I didn't necessarily feel super attracted to. And it was so awkward to be in this place that obviously that's what everyone's doing. It's not like we were supposed to be watching The Matrix. Okay? I was told this is what we would do after prom. And that is not what people were doing. They were not paying attention to the movie, and I just wanted to watch the movie, and I felt so uncomfortable. So I can appreciate Harry's perspective that everybody's doing this. You're not necessarily in the mood, nor do you feel comfortable, nor has this been something you've done a lot. So you don't want to be seen by everybody. So, poor Harry. I feel for you, Harry.
I want to read this out because this is the subject of the Quidditch World Cup carried them along the way down the drive and out through the gates. Harry could hardly believe how easy it was to talk to her. No more difficult, in fact, than talking to Ron and Hermione. And he was just starting to feel confident and cheerful when a large gang of Slytherin girls passed them, including one Pansy Parkinson. "Potter and Chang!" screeched Pansy to her chorus of snide giggles. "Ugh, Chang, I don't think much of your taste. At least Diggory was good looking." This is why I love myself some Pansy Parkinson. Girl's got no problem just letting you know her thoughts and just
so rude.
and just ripping you right to
So
your face. It's just such a great character.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call her a great character, but
No. I mean, like,
you love to read her.
For a book that you're reading, it's like
Pansy Parkinson is your spirit animal.
she totally
That's who
is.
you are in this series.
Yeah, we've already established
sure.
that. I'm absolutely going to make a Pansy Parkinson shirt, and it's going to be simple. It's just going to say Pansy Parkinson, and that's it. That's all it's going to say. It's just going to be green with white lettering, maybe black. I don't know. We'll see. So you'll find that at the Mary and Blake store soon. But I just read this and I laughed out loud. She's like, "I don't think much of your taste. At least Diggory was good looking." Oh man, it made my heart sing, because you have to have characters like that. You have to have
Wretched
people,
human beings.
Yeah, you have to have people that move the needle. You know, like
Once again, Harry proves himself, though, to be steadfast in his way of ignoring these Slytherins.
Yes, exactly.
And this is something that is brought up frequently in our house when Blake brings up silly things. "Oh, I'm going to make a funny joke that's only funny to me." And then I ignore it. And he says, "What? No laugh?" That's what you do, friends. If someone makes a joke like that, just be Harry. We've been teaching our kids that too. Just ignore them.
Yep. But again,
Still doesn't make you feel great.
well, no, but again, that's why those characters are great, because you get to measure your protagonist against characters like that, right? You get to measure them against how they would react or not react or interact, right? If you don't have those kind of characters that don't move the needle, that don't push your protagonist, in this case it's Pansy and Harry. If you don't have someone like Pansy pushing against Harry, Harry is just going to exude all the things that you want him to exude without having to earn it, right? Harry has to earn what he's able to do in terms of the story. He has to be able to look at Pansy and make a choice and feel confident in that choice. Whether it's the right one or the wrong one, like, we have Caps Lock Harry, right? That teaches you about him. That teaches you that he's making a wrong choice, but he's getting a push against him because of that, and as a result of that. And that's why Pansy is the best, because she's able to do that.
Well, I think she's also able to set the scene of not necessarily feeling comfortable on this date. So you go from Pansy making fun of you and putting you down, and then you're into this snogging tea shop. So it's just uncomfortable after uncomfortable after uncomfortable. It's just not Harry's vibe. So I agree with you. It's there for a reason. She's there for a point. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Oh my gosh.
It's just how she just ranks on him.
I would not do well
Oh man.
with Pansy Parkinson in my class.
Oh, it's the best. It's just the best.
We of course get the paper that comes out with all these 10 Death Eaters that broke out, and news breaks out. People are worried. People are saying they're looking at Harry with a different appreciation and a different kindness, and they're starting to question: has the Daily Prophet been doing this in the correct way? Other classmates are reaching out saying, "I feel just like you." No, you don't. No, you don't. But sure, you can kind of
Jenny
appreciate
does.
it. And then, of course, Mr. Bode was killed by Devil's Snare that made its way in. Super awkward. The trio knows exactly what's going on. What I don't like, however, which I find very un-Gryffindor, St. Mungo's is as yet unable to account for the presence of the plant on the ward and asks any witch or wizard with information to come forward. Harry, Ron, and Hermione, come on! Come on!
What are we doing?
Get a little information.
This is totally when the Gryffindors show up.
Seriously.
I know
And
all
the
about
poor
this.
nurse who was like loving on them, and she's been she needs a little break for a while. Healer Strout. Oh, because she was encouraging him to take care of the plant. She thought she was doing the right thing. I can't even handle it. So this is just all bad news. And I love how Ron's like, "Who? What a dummy. Someone didn't even know it was Devil's Snare." No, Ron. Someone definitely knew what was going on. Hermione,
That's
is what,
when
of
you
course.
have to have the living gif of Hermione going like this.
Yeah.
Just going down in the Devil's Snare.
And this settles Hermione's mind, where she goes and she decides to go reach out to Rita Skeeter. She doesn't say this at this moment, but she gets up, she has an idea, and of course the title of this is The Beetle at Bay, the beetle being Rita Skeeter in her animagus form.
But
Hagrid,
before we get to Hagrid and Rita Skeeter, I do want to ask you about Umbridge, and obviously she has the educational decree where she doesn't let other teachers talk about anything else other than teaching.
Yes.
I think this is probably that first step where she kind of goes wrong. Because like before we've talked about, is she wrong? Is she wrong in how she's doing all of this? We know that the treatment that she's given Harry, we know that some of the punishments that she's laid out has been obviously over the top. But in terms of these educational decrees, is she really wrong?
This one to me is a bit too vague, and that's where it's wrong.
Yes,
I
that's what I'm
think
saying.
that you can easily say, teachers, please don't talk about politics or religion or things that are covered in the news. I mean, she could have easily said, please don't talk about things that are covered in the newspapers that aren't in line with things that would be happening in the normal Hogwarts activities.
Yeah.
She could have brought it down a little bit, but this is where, of course, Lee Jordan pokes on her because she's getting after them about something and then he gets in trouble. But this is where it is. It's too vague, but I do agree that as a teacher myself, there are things that it's a hard line to go on, where you're able to talk about things that aren't necessarily in your studies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think this is, and my point in this question, Mary, and you kind of led right into it. But first, I do want to say, I think this is the first misstep that Umbridge has in terms of her educational decrees. And you said, yes, it's vague. Well, it's vague for a purpose, right? It's so that she, at least in my thinking, it's vague so that she can enforce it at any time that she so pleases. If she hears any talk about anything that would either degrade the ministry, herself, her teaching, anything that is going on, oh yeah, no, you talked something about other than class. Mm-hmm. So that's by design, right? But my next question, though, Mary, and like I said, you kind of led up to it, is Lee Jordan.
Yes.
Now, we have this whole instance where she's got the detention, she's got the pen, the quill, rather.
Yeah, because Exploding Snap, she's talking to Fred and George, and Lee Jordan says, Exploding Snap's got nothing to do with Defense Against the Dark Arts, Professor. That's not information relating to your subject. And then, of course, Lee has a bleeding marks on his hand.
Right. So my question to you, Mary, is just as a narrative choice, are you okay with the author choosing to have Umbridge do this to Lee Jordan?
Am I okay with this?
Yeah, like my ultimate point is, would it have been more? Is like, we all know the quill and what she has students do is just abhorrent, right?
Yes.
Like that is what it is. There's no way around that.
Mm-hmm.
But just in terms of the story, would it have been better if she had Lee do something else, and that quill was special to just like she intentionally hurt Harry in a way that she would with no one else? And is it better to have Lee punished somehow or some way other than that? And just, does it detract from the awfulness of what she does to Harry by having Lee do it?
No, because to me, this just makes her an even more awful person. She's not even just singling Harry out. She truly is an awful person, an awful teacher. And to know, kids are using quills. Quills are like a magical thing in Harry Potter. We don't use quills anymore as a civilization. So this is something, when you go to a Harry Potter camp, you go to a store, you're getting a quill because it's Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something bad, with something that over the past 4 books we have associated with a really fun, magical thing. And she's now using it as a tool to torture students. I am 100% okay with this being something that is ongoing. And then Harry's even able to help Lee by saying, some essence of Murtlap should help you with that. So to me, it's just across the board. She's not even just picking on Harry. She is truly a terrible woman who is doing this to students.
Gotcha.
And I love that Harry decides he took his revenge the only way he had, redoubling his efforts for the DA. I love that it is the word revenge, that this is the only way he can do it. And this is his sort of light and his source of where he can dump his energy into while he's so frustrated with everything else. We got Hagrid and Trelawney going through all these different issues, and he could still do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. Let's talk about...
I don't like that Harry's having more prickling. He's doing all these occlumency lessons, and he's actually actively saying he's having more prickling. He's having more dreams. Now, some of it is his own intrigue. He is interested in finding out what's at the end of this dream. And then, of course, we do know that over the last chapter, Hagrid, Voldemort was really excited because everyone broke free. But I don't like that there's extra prickling, and I don't understand necessarily why. Obviously, Voldemort's getting more powerful and he's doing more things, but it does make me feel uncomfortable that Harry does work more with Snape, and yet he does still seem more vulnerable. And Ron brings that up.
Right.
Ron says, I don't like this. What if he's actually a double agent?
Yeah.
Well, he is. But what if he's a double agent and he actually is weakening you for Voldemort? And you sit down, you look at the evidence, and that kind of seems to be what's happening.
Sure. And I think it's appropriate that it's Ron who brings it up and not Hermione.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that it would be Hermione because she is the one that is most logical, and the one that is, let's just say it, the most learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in this instance, Mary, this feels like more of an emotional thing as opposed to a logical thing. So it's probably right for Ron to bring that up. Do you find that there's a difference in the in the motivation for why this was brought up in terms of like logic versus emotion?
Versus Ron versus Hermione and bringing it up?
Yeah. Like
I just feel like it's always been Ron. It's always been Ron who's been questioning Snape. And Hermione's always been the one being like, I don't think so. He's a professor. Dumbledore trusts him. Ron doesn't trust anyone.
But it even goes as far as talking about Dumbledore as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if this is the right choice from good old...
Yeah. You got to prove yourself to Ron.
Yeah. Interesting.
Ron is the middle youngest child, okay? Ain't nobody looking out for him. He's got to look out for himself, and he's doing the same for Harry.
All right, so let's talk about the whole Rita Skeeter of it all. And I'm so surprised at how this played out, Mary, because
Really?
Rita Skeeter to me is always a step ahead for the most part, and she gets bested. But it's like, okay, you got bested and someone got you. Okay, fine. but it's by a 14-year-old girl that you get smoked by.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I buy it.
I do.
How come?
I think Slytherins, when they get taken down about things that they're proud of, they are weak. They are ripe for the picking.
Fair.
15-year-old girl can come and get you. And this will truly ruin Rita's life if she is sent to Azkaban.
Right.
What she has held against her is the holy grail of holy grails. And Hermione is not just any average wizard. She's wicked smart. There's been young geniuses who've been able to
Sure.
do crazy things. What's that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can?
Oh, yeah.
So there's been history of brilliant people.
Doogie Howser?
Yes, okay? So that is the level on which I think of Hermione Granger. That, yes, I may be young, but don't you dare think that you're going to be able to pull a fast one on me
Sure.
because I know these rules. And Rita has been able to figure that out. Plus, she's down on her luck when it comes to, you know, her employment. We've been able to see the kind of shabby shape that she's in, but we know that she loves her scoop. This is a driving force in Rita. She loves to write. She loves to get to the nitty gritty. And so it's not even Hermione saying, you have to do this because I know about your secret, but also she knows what fuels Rita. Some people, they're fueled by fame. Some people, they're fueled by fortune. Rita enjoys the scoop.
Mm-hmm.
She lives for it. And that is what she is so excited to get from Harry.
I love how this is written in this by the end of this chapter, where it was, I wasn't the sole witness, snarled Harry. There were a dozen odd Death Eaters there as well. Do you want their names? I'd love them, breathed Rita, now fumbling in her bag once more and gazing at him as though he was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. A subheading: Harry Potter names Death Eater still among us. And then, beneath a big photograph of you, disturbed teenage survivor of you-know-who's attack, Harry Potter 15 caused outrage yesterday by accusing respectable and prominent members of wizarding community of being Death Eaters. The quick quotes quill was actually in her hand and halfway to her mouth when the rapturous expression of her face died. But of course, she said, lowering the quill and looking daggers at Hermione, little Miss Perfect wouldn't want that story out there, would she? Oh, I love how you can feel the quick quotes quill going, and it's going rapidly in her hand with there's almost like no control of it. Like it's all subconscious for Rita Skeeter. A well written scene here, a well written character, where you can get that feeling. You can get that, like, oh yeah, I get that. That makes sense to me. And then having that feeling of of just like death on her face, like, but getting ahead of herself before she could talk about Hermione, only for Hermione to kind of drop the bomb here and be like, oh no, I want you to do it. I think it's a great idea, but you're going to do it in the Quibbler.
And you're going to do it in a positive light of Harry, not
Right.
putting him down. There's enough of that garbage.
Right. And even Luna in this part where she's like, she's awesome in this part where she's like, oh yeah, my dad's the person who is the editor of the Quibbler, and Rita Skeeter puts him down, and we can look at it like the National Enquirer, I guess. But it goes to show you again that Hermione is willing to do what it takes, even put aside her severe dislike of Rita Skeeter, in order to get the story that she wants out there in the world. Another, I think, pivotal moment in Hermione's characterization, where you get the sense that she can put things away as long as the common goal that she has in mind, it aligns with the other person. So I don't know. It's just an interesting little bit there.
Brave people do hard and difficult and sometimes scary things.
Yes.
If it's right, and that's what That's what Hermione really is proving a lot in
Yep.
this chapter.
Yep. All right,
Love
you got anything
it.
else in this chapter you want to talk
I
about?
had a couple other things. Oh my gosh. When Harry gets there and he sees Hagrid, and Hagrid goes on and on about how much alike they are because they're orphans.
Oh, I know.
This broke my flippin' heart because we have forgotten this. We have forgotten. Hagrid is an orphan too.
Yep.
And he is truly ostracized because he is half giant and half human. And he doesn't even get to like graduate from Hogwarts. He doesn't really have family. Well, soon we'll find some family. No wonder he clings to him.
Mhm.
As would Harry. Harry clings to Sirius, even though he's a wackadoodle, because he's family. So just really, you feel for Hagrid, and reading that quote makes you understand why he even more so cares for Harry, why he takes care of Harry when he's an infant and he rides him over, why at the end of the series it is such a traumatic thing for him to be carrying Harry's what he thinks dead body. Yes, their age is apart. Yes, he's half giant and Harry isn't, but they have this connection, and it just was so monumental. I'm really disappointed in Harry for not being prepared and bringing a flippin' umbrella. In this chapter, it talks about how rainy it is. Now he's walking with Cho, and they're looking for a tea shop or a coffee to warm up. And I'm like, A, umbrella. You are in school in Scotland. B, I'm pretty sure in the Fantastic Beasts movies, I saw a spell that you hold your wand and it becomes an umbrella.
Yep. Come on now.
So why is that not taught, D.A.? Harry friggin' Potter. Okay?
Give me the umbrella spell.
Whippity boppity drip drip. I don't know. Like, come on. How do you not do this? She's writing about it dripping down his neck, and I'm like, Harry, it's February.
Do you know what that reminds me of?
What?
Boring. We watched an episode of Bluey last night with our little lass, and the dad doesn't bring any of the stuff to the pool.
Yes.
And everybody is miserable, but they were like, oh, Dad has all the fun, and he doesn't bring anything. They're just it was just so funny. And then the mom shows up and she has everything, and so that's what I was thinking of as I reread this portion this morning, where it was like,
Harry,
oh yeah, no
where's your
umbrella,
umbrella?
sure, okay, yeah, boring.
Yeah.
What needs an umbrella? It's
Would have
ridiculous.
made you feel loads better, Harry. Loads better.
All right, anything else?
That is it.
All right, you ready for your different perspective?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter! I'm Hermione Granger. And you are?
Roger Davies.
Roger!
Hey.
Hey, how are ya? I hear,
Aside from these chapped lips, you mean? Hey.
Oh.
Listen, I asked that girl Cho Chang
Yeah.
to come out. She said no.
Yeah, well, Harry Potter, chosen one and all.
You know what? She didn't even want to kiss him. They were there awkward the whole time. Thank God she said no.
I know.
Because I was smooching up the wazoo. That little Cupid drip dropping all of its magic dust on me.
Oh, yeah.
It was like I was hit by a love potion.
You can't even use chapstick right
I
now.
don't
You're going to
even-
have to go straight to the petroleum jelly.
I don't even know the girl's name. Okay? I just saw her outside. She also didn't know the umbrella spell.
Yeah, true.
That's what you got to do, okay? You got to wait for a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't know the umbrella spell because then maybe they teach that in 6th year. I don't know.
Sure,
It's like
I
a
don't know.
joke. Flitwick, what are you doing? You have one job. And so I wait outside and I
Uh-huh.
say, hey, would you like a nice little tea? An espresso. Maybe a little
Yeah, something to warm you up.
chamomile. They say yes.
Chai?
I lead them in. Chai. There
Oh.
you go. I lead them in. Comfy, cozy.
Mhm.
What's your name? Forgot it right away. Hey.
I wasn't listening
I
anyway.
winked at the Cupid. Do your thing. Bippity boppity.
Bippity
Boo.
boppity snog.
Oh my gosh. Best day ever. Can Valentine's Day be every day?
You, my friend, I think you got it schnooked. You know exactly what
My
you're
calves
doing.
are burning because I was standing up as I was snogging because it was across the table from how it's written. Super
Yeah,
awkward.
your lower back must be on fire.
I don't
right
even
now.
care. Everything's on fire. I just had the best day ever, and thank God Cho Chang said no. That girl's a prude.
Yeah, doesn't want to put out.
Nope. Done. Done with that. Madam Puttyfoot,
Oh,
for those of you who listen on the audio thing, she sounds like Hagrid. So all I could picture was Hagrid with lipstick on. So There you go, Madam Puttyfoot, pouring you some chai. Snoggy McSnogs. I'm
All
here
the
for
chai.
it.
So much good chai.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know what I learned? That if you say chai tea, it's
Okay.
actually redundant because chai is tea. So
Yeah.
you can't say chai tea. It's just chai.
Yeah.
I just want chai.
Yes. It'd be like saying, "Can I please have some Kleenex tissues?"
No, because Kleenex is a brand of tissue.
Okay. Yes. True. Can I have some coffee?
Yes, it'd be like saying, "Can I have coffee?"
Yes.
Coffee flavored coffee.
End scene.
All right. We have some emails. Do we have time for email?
You can, because I have to go take care of our children. So you're going to close out the show.
Oh,
You
yeah,
could do a
we'll close it
single.
out right now together.
Well,
No.
okay.
We'll close it out together. That'll be it. All right, ladies and gents, let's close this bad boy out, shall we? Here we go.
Thank you all so incredibly much for hanging out with us here at the Potterverse. Feel free to leave us a voicemail. You can go to maryandblake.com, click that upper right-hand corner, and you'll see Contact Us, where you can leave us your voicemail. We would absolutely love to hear from you. You can also email us, maryandblakemedia@gmail.com. Thanks to our friends, by the way, at jointhenerdclan.com for making this and all of our free podcasts possible.
Yes.
You keep the lights on, you keep the website fees covered. Truly, you make this and all of the podcasts that we do possible. So thank you to our generous patrons.
Someone here, Caitlin here on Facebook, knows our pain about Bluey. She's like, I love that episode of Bluey, LOL. We also watched that episode where they try to go to get takeaway and then try to take showers. Bluey is a lot funnier than I thought it would be.
It is.
I thought it would be kind of like Blue's Clues or, one of those like Coco Melon shows. It's not. It's actually really funny.
It is.
So, all right, that's it.
All right, everybody. My name is Mary.
My name is Blake.
Mischief managed.